going on, guys? Weather fans, hello YouTube. Got a couple things going on here that we're looking at. So I've been looking at the weather system and I've been seeing it a lot on YouTube. Everybody's just kind of been reporting on it and talking about our next system that is going through. So there's a couple things going on that is, you know what I mean? It is a little bit concerning, but I don't want everybody to get kind of blown out of proportion here too. You know what I mean? And get freaked out about what's coming because it could be, you know what I mean? It could be a bad weather system or it could be, not that bad at all. You know what I mean? This last weather system that we had come through, it seems like we got kind of lucky. I mean, we did have a lot of tornadoes. Luckily, I haven't heard about any fatalities. That's a great thing. So looking at these weather systems coming through, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of trying to figure out what it's kind of going to be like, So looking at the GSF models and things like that, that's going on here. So I'm going to kind of run through this, and I can only run it up to the 24th, I believe, but the 25th or around there is when this system should start to increase in its intensity and things like that. So I'm going to kind of run through this. This is plus 1 hour from right now. I'm looking at this is 11:12 p.m. And this says 3 p.m. March 20. So we're going to kind of go through this here, and you can kind of see how this weather system from this low pressure system that's coming in here, and this low that's right here, and then you'll see another one that kind of comes up from Mexico down here as well. So kind of running through this, and you can see that weather system kind of building up with that squall line that's going on right there with that low pressure system kind of revolving around like that. Look at that big line right there. So definitely in that line right there, we could have the possibilities for some embedded supercell development and some possible convection. And then it kind of, you know what I mean, stews here in the Gulf for a little bit. And going into the springtime, we're kind of in the beginning of the springtime here, so that's going to cause some issues because obviously we get a lot of heat advection from the Gulf of Mexico here. A lot of that heat and that moisture that lifts up here, and that causes instability in the atmosphere. So that's the kind of threat as we get a little bit warmer in the temperatures. So this is as far as I'm going to go in the GSF model right here, but you can see the system kind of building like this. So I have another one from COD Meteorology here, and this is going to kind of show right here, just for an example. This is the vortice look for this is 500 MB millibar vortice look. So basically, this has to do with vortices that are vertical in nature, and so we got a little bit of those vortices here. Looking at 02Z, and you can just see kind of how it progresses from there. And it's just kind of, see those dark reds where it's just kind of building up a little bit and getting a little bit stronger with that. So as this system kind of moves in, then you're going to have a little bit more of that vortice that's coming in there. And that is something that I was a little worried about. Same thing here. This is that wind that's aloft here. So if we go back to 168 hours, you can kind of look at, you know what I mean, the system that was going through here with our first weather system. All right, and then we go down to 0 hour. So this is where the concern is that these wind drifts that are here, so basically, sorry about that. Let me go back to 0 hour here. I don't know what happened there. There we go. So when you're looking at this right here, it's kind of making that, upper level trough that's kind of going through here. So we got a trough development. And as this trough kind of progresses, and I've looked at the models quite a bit, that upper level air increases. See this red right here? It increases in intensity when it gets to, somewhere in the plains region, and then it comes down the southeast, and then it kind of swings back up. So it seems like it's going to kind of swing like this, through the southeast like that, and that's where you're going to get that, that upper level winds, that high vortice up there, in the southeast region. And then you got that heat advection there with some moisture going in there. There's definitely going to be some rain and some hail possibilities with this as well. So we might have another severe weather event coming. So we're going to go back to the RGEM model. And as we kind of track this through, I was looking at some of the atmospherics that was going on, you know what I mean, with some of the system pretty much ahead of this line. I usually try to, you know, do this kind of in the greens a little bit more. I haven't looked at it actually today, so you know what I mean. GF models can change as they get closer to the event, but you know what I mean. These green regions, kind of ahead of this line and things like that, is kind of usually where I look for these things. So let's go to the Pivotal Weather Model GFS, and as we track this along here, and you can see the date there, we're looking, let's see, and we're going to go to, we'll go to 00/24th, and this is the 24th for 00Z. So as we progress along here, you can see that build up and that low that's around Mexico. I told you that was going to come through here. And then you can see how this kind of builds with this as well. And then, you know, so you can see that wind that's going to come through here. It's going to be with the upper level trough that's coming through here. All right, and it kind of progresses along the coast. And then you see all this other stuff start to build in here, and that's where that line of storms is going to be coming into effect. And you see that build, and then we got a lot of these isolated cells here. So a lot of these isolated cells, they can have a lot of embedded supercells that are kind of widespread and scattered through here, and then it becomes a lot more scattered, a lot more populated with that. It builds, and then it continues through the southeast here. You know what I mean? And a lot of these storms can have a lot of embedded rotating thunderstorms that are possible through here, and then kind of, you know, like I said, progresses through the southeast, heading north-northeast out to the east coast, continuing that way. And what I was looking at earlier and trying to figure out, I didn't look at it today, so the model might have changed, but in these darker green regions and everything of Georgia and Alabama, let's go back a couple days. Or I mean a couple frames here, I'm sorry, not days. But, you know, like Alabama, covered with a lot of this, Alabama, Mississippi, a lot of this dark green in here. So I'm going to click somewhere, and you can look at these models. Well, usually you can. I don't know why it's not working right now. Oh, okay, it says no sounding data. Okay, so I don't have any sounding data right now. So let's go closer to our, and then, yeah, now we can get the sounding data, but let's see how far we can go. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah. Let's see how far we can go before we get there. So, all right. So let's take a look at southern Mississippi here in some of these dark green regions. And, yeah, pretty normal there. I mean, there's nothing really that stands out to me there. But as this progresses, and a little bit of weakness in the wind field here. This is kind of on the southern tip there of Alabama. All right, let's try to move forward here. Okay, so before this frame, this is the last one that I can get sounding data for. Let's look in that dark green region here. All right, marginal severe. Getting cap. Yeah, and I can't get sounding data past 15Z on the 24th. And I did get data the other day when I was looking at it. I was going to do that video that day. I should have done it that day. But what that tells me is that there's going to be a significant amount of CAPE that's going to be here, and most unstable CAPE. So I'm going to have to look at those effects, you know what I mean, when we get closer to the event, when this develops. So supercell composite, tornado parameter might be favorable for some severe weather in here, as well as some unstable CAPE, instability in the atmosphere. Usually anywhere from, honestly, I've seen tornadoes form anywhere from 500 to, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 CAPE. So our CAPE levels could be 500, but and to be honest with you, typically with a system like this, I think it's going to be somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500 joules. So that's probably the kind of CAPE that we're looking at. And then, we've had the sufficient wind shear with the kind of winds that have been going through the southeast and pretty much everywhere. We've had pretty high winds after this system kind of blew through, and so that wind shear is definitely going to be there as well. The temperatures, I know, are going to go up as far as that is concerned. So I was looking at the futuristic outlook from the National Weather Service. This is for the day 3 outlook, so you can see that marginal risk that's going to be there in the southeast corner of Oklahoma and the kind of northeast corner there in northern Texas. So this is the outlook from the National Weather Service for day 3, and as this kind of moves to the east, it's going to be moving to the east with that low pressure system, and then that upper level trough is kind of bringing it down like this, and then it's going to kind of curve like that up the you know what I mean, kind of through the southeast, and then up along the line of Tennessee and into the northeast region there. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up on this system that's blowing through, that it could be severe, but at the same time, I don't want anybody to get freaked out or anything like that, because it might not be as bad as sometimes we anticipated. We just got to see how the models kind of persist later on and see how it develops. We don't really know what's going to happen, but with these storms there, like this big squall line that you got here, this bowing, most of the time with these storms, this bowing here, when you have that, there's a lot of straight line winds that can be ahead of this. You can get a lot of wind problems even ahead of the storm before it even gets to you. And you don't need a tornado to have damage. You can have damage just from winds alone. A lot of precipitation with this storm as well as it kind of progresses through. And as that low kind of moves through there, you're going to have a lot of that damage of, you could have some wind damage without tornadoes. You could have some hail damage as well, and a lot of precipitation, flooding issues. Usual thing that we get in springtime. So this is going to be coming around the 24th, 25th. Let's see here, 23rd, here 20. Okay, so let me go back. It's the 20th today. So really, starting tomorrow and the next day, about the 21st, it looks like. But you know what I mean? We also see some snow that's going on up here, even in the northwest right now. That's been going on. We got some snowy weather that's going on there, some winter weather with this low attributed with that, those higher temperatures that are up there from the northwest. And you got a brief highs kind of behind this, as well. A lot of rain that's going to be going on. Kansas, Oklahoma, you guys get ready. About the 22nd, you're going to have some rain and storms there with some possible systems that might blow through there. Let's look at... Let's go to this GFS model here. And we'll go back to... Let's start at the 21st and track this along. And see how it's going to be out there in the Midwest regions. So it looks like Nebraska right there in the corner is getting a little bit of that as well. And then it just becomes more widespread where you can have some of those isolated supercell developments and things like that. Disturbance in the wind shear between 1 and 2 meters here. But nothing significant really in the atmosphere here. Let me see. Let's see this dark green here. Nothing really significant that at this point, at this time in its development, that points to me as unstable or anything like that. There's no real threat here. A little bit of disturbances, but nothing really that spells out to me that yeah. I mean, LCL height looks pretty good. And then as it just kind of progresses, okay. So I'm thinking the further east that it moves, I'm going to have a little bit more instability possible because of that maybe that warm advection that's coming from the Gulf of Mexico. and that might increase some of that that convection in there and that instability. So we got some marginal severe risk that's going on here, as well as that. LCL height is pretty low, which is your lifting condensation. So, and that's pretty much right there on the the border right there of New Orleans. And when you get that lifting condensation around 500 to 750, somewhere around there, then you can have the possibility for some severe weather. Right in the south of Mississippi here. LCL still pretty low, but a little bit higher. Still no threat as it progresses, though. Let's see. Let's try right here. LCL is a lot of. It's a lot lower now. Let's put it right in the middle of that big red zone there and see what we get. Yeah, so LCL is really low in there. That's only because it's right in the middle of that big orange spot right there. All right. So, yeah, winds are a little disturbed down here in the bottom at surface level. This is kind of southern Louisiana. So now we're getting into a little bit of the instability that's going to take place here. Lifting condensation is favorable. Got a little bit of supercell development, weak at that point right now, but, you know, a possibility. You could have a possibility of some rotating thunderstorms, usually at mid-level. About I mean, it doesn't mean that it's going to be so close to the surface, because the rotation at mid-level, it is significant. It is something to pay attention to, but it doesn't always mean that you're going to have a tornado. It doesn't always mean that the atmosphere is unstable enough to have tornadoes or anything like that. You know, the surface rotation, when you look at the velocity radars and things like that, and the reflectivity, you know, when you look at that, the surface rotation is what's gonna make the most difference when you look at it, because it doesn't matter so much what's happening at mid-level, because you get rotating thunderstorms in the southeast all the time from these thunderstorms. The wind shear the way it is, the warm and moist advection from the Gulf of Mexico, and the trough that's going to be coming through here from the west and the northwest here. You know, so that's all favorable, and that works. You know what I mean, to make the rotating supercells or rotating thunderstorms. But it doesn't always mean you're going to have a tornado unless you look at the the features. Its surface, you know what I mean, at the surface here. So, I mean, but you know, anybody who studies weather, they'll tell you. Anybody who studies weather will tell you. You know what I mean. Some supercells they develop tornadoes, and some of them don't. You know, a lot of them don't actually. And I mean, what's the odds really of having a tornado actually hit your house? I think it's like 1 in 10 million. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean it can't happen, but you know, the odds are pretty low. And hopefully, oh wow, look at that spike. That's pretty cool. That's interesting. All right, so there is some interesting kind of factors here that go into this, but this is the building of the storm before it kind of, you know, unleashes itself on the 24th or the 25th. I don't think it's going to strengthen that much until it gets to the southeast. It doesn't look as impressive out in the Midwest, but as we get to the southeast, yeah, it does intensify a little bit. You know, but it might not be a system that is going to be utterly terrible. You know what I mean? It could be just some thunderstorms, rumbles of thunder and lightning, maybe a couple rotating thunderstorms here, supercells, you know, development here and there, because you know you see how these cells become more widespread the further that we go. You know what I mean? And closer to the date, you know, and maybe the GFS can't really anticipate how this is going to kind of go into effect as it kind of progresses. But as we get closer to the date, you know, probably tomorrow, I'll check this again to see. I'll check this again to see if I can get any sounding data on it. So we can actually look at some of the atmospheric instrumentation here and analysis tools and stuff to see what's going on. But Yeah, that trough that's going to be coming through, that's going to be kind of our main threat as far as that upper level air that's kind of going to be going through here. So that's what I got to kind of keep an eye on, because if that happens, then you could get some of that surface rotation. You could get some of that intensifying around the southeast, especially with our temperatures going up in the springtime. So I just wanted to alert you guys around the 22nd to 25th through the Midwest to the southeast. You want to just keep your eyes open and be weather aware, just to see make sure that you all know what's going on and what's coming your way, so we can try to keep everybody safe. You know what I mean? So good luck, and I am gonna probably do another video on this when I get a little bit more information on what we're looking at here, and then I can make another video and determination on kind of what's going on. Pay attention to the weather channels too. Don't take my word for it. Those are the professionals. Look at them. You know what I mean? And listen to what they say. The National Weather Service, definitely. You can look up their page. That is right here, spc.noaa.gov. You can go there and check them out, and it will tell you everything on today's outlook and the next 3 days. This site is also good to go to, ustornadoes.com, and it does tornado tracking, and you can scroll down and you can look at all of the atmospherics that is going on in your area right now. You can see, the temperatures, the dew points. This is the Cape. This is the bulk wind shear that's going on in your area. Supercell composite, tornado parameter. This right here is a little bit more confusing for people who don't know mesoscale analysis and weather charts and everything. This is the helicity of the storms, and with sufficient helicity, that's what is favorable for tornadoes to form, tornadogenesis. All right, so and this is your lifting condensation. All right, so your lifting condensation levels, see when they're 1250, these high levels right here. Generally, the tornadoes, it says it right here, generally tornadoes will form below 1500 meters of LCL height. All right, so where you're getting these like 750 right here, or you're getting that 250 right here, which is that kind of low pressure system that's been hanging off of our east coast right there. So when you get these lower levels of lifting condensation, that's where you're going to get your severe weather at. You know what I mean? That's kind of what you're looking at there. But all of this has to fall into those dynamics to have tornadic storms, just to bear that in mind. You know what I mean? You have to have that kind of soup mix ingredients all together in order for tornadoes to be able to form. So don't get freaked out and don't panic. You know what I mean? Let's just keep an eye on what is going on, and I will inform you guys as soon as I know what is going on. And I wish everybody to have a good weekend and stay safe, have fun with the families, and we'll see you probably tomorrow or sometime next week. I'll do another video. Thanks for watching.